Hi, this is Paul, and welcome to The Razor's Edge. Tonight I'm interviewing Karl Willetts, vocalist from Memoriam and former vocalist of death metal legends Bolt Thrower. Good to see you.
All right, someone speaking in English for the first time.
You've had a lot of them today, have you?
Not today, but every night usually. I usually do all the ones through the label,
right.
Monday to Wednesday. So there's usually 2 or 3 a night.
Magic, great.
And then I used to use the Thursdays and Fridays for my own ones. I usually or Becky's organised ones. So so it's been pretty hectic.
Cool.
But
well,
it comes with stuff and it's good fun. So I like talking about me.
Okay, let's start off with it. Well, thank you for your time. Pleasure to see you. Let's talk about your a little bit about your history. Over 30 years doing this now.
Yeah. Been doing it for a while, on and off.
So go back to the early days. Who were the bands that really floated your boat when you started? What got you into this?
Well, the bands that started me off at the early stage, my little girl. My heritage is really kind of punk scene.
Yeah.
Really, those are my formative years. Going up to gigs in Birmingham at the Digbeth Civic Hall, and the legendary Mermaid every other weekend. It was almost lived up there. You know what I mean? Drinking scrumpy and cider and black and all sorts of monstrous drinks. But so that's really where my background comes from. It's not really specifically a heavy metal background, if you know what I mean. So the likes of Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, this whole new wave of British heavy metal really never really kind of doesn't really float my boat, to be perfectly honest. It doesn't really appeal to me. But one exception to the rule would be Black Sabbath, a big but coming from Birmingham. I'm very proud of their heritage. I came across them pretty later in the day. But I'm talking about bands such as specifically Sacrilege, are a huge influence to me. That was almost my kind of my light bulb moment when I was watching them. I went to virtually all the shows that they played. I did a handful, but I think I went to the majority of them. And I was watching them. I think it was on my 21st birthday at the Mermaid, and I was watching Sacrilege, and that was when I thought, well, I like this. I could do this. I could, it kind of entered into my mind. It's something that I could potentially, do. So that was it. But all those bands from that era, Hell Bastard, kind of Amoebics, Anti-Sex, Axe Grinder, Doom, Napalm, all those bands. That's really where my musical kind of journey began. And it's all developed from there. That point, really.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense when you listen to the way you sing and the bands that you've been in. It's certainly much more the gnarlier stuff than the classic, isn't it?
I'd never call it a million years call it singing. It's rhythmical shouting, mate. That's what I call it. But exactly. So that's really the primary influence on what I do. Obviously throughout my career, it's developed. I would listen to all sorts of different kinds of that. It's pre the term death metal really wasn't around at that point. You know what I mean? There wasn't really a term for it at all. And kind of grindcore, thrash metal, whatever. We had loads of different labels thrown at us, and whatever shit stuck. And so you got to find some way to label you, to put you in the racks of the record, don't they?
Indeed, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about Memoriam before we get on to the new album. Obviously, you started it out as a tribute to Kiddy, and I think anyone who is a Bolt Thrower fan or a Memoriam fan would say you've achieved that in every sense. It is definitely a tribute to your fallen comrade. Do you still view everything you do as a tribute to him?
No, I think it's grown, on its own merit from that point. It was born. That was the catalyst for us to start. Really, it's the whole thing. Partly was a tribute to him, but a lot of it was a cathartic exercise to to explore kind of the themes of grief and sorrow and the continuous themes, which we did pretty much through the first 3 albums. I think we kind of explored that general theme. Kids, shut up. Sure. So yeah, that theme was pretty prevalent throughout the first three albums.
Yeah.
I refer to that trilogy of albums as now as the death cycle.
Yeah.
So yeah, we kind of like, it was pretty much the central focus of the artwork. Was the fallen comrade. The coffin was always the central focus of the album covers, and that's what we explored throughout those three albums, those feelings of grief and sorrow. And,
sure.
And I think we've kind of like pulled ourselves from beyond that. 5 years on down the line, 3 albums later, onto the fourth album.
Yeah.
We're now, in a wider picture. We've experienced this whole kind of global kind of experience of COVID. And,
yeah.
I think through that, I think we've got a bit more. This new album. I'm in danger of answering all your questions in one go.
Keep going.
This new album is, it's the start of a new trilogy, basically. What I refer to as the life cycle. So I think we are starting to have a little bit more hope for the future. I think that's reflected in the artwork as well.
Yeah, it's a very positive upward vibe. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the actual now we're seeing the central focus of the cover is that fallen, what's previously fallen leader type figure, who's now very much alive.
Indeed.
This is in fact, and the kind of like that orb that he's holding, kind of that green orb, kind of symbolises a bit of life, and there's a bit of light in the background, which to me kind of symbolises hope. And I think that's where we're at now. So we're moving forward, we're drawing all the experience we've had in our lives, and we're moving forward with a bit more hope and for the future and joy.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things I was thinking when I was preparing for this was I couldn't believe actually I was at that Asylum gig in 2016. I think it was one of the first gigs that you played in the UK. Yeah. And I was thinking, Christ, I can't believe it's over 4 years since that. And obviously you're on your fourth album already. I was wondering how you charted the development of the band. Obviously you started it off with For the Fallen, and you worked your way through. How do you view the way the band has evolved?
The trajectory.
That's the word.
The avalanche that has happened. I mean, we don't tend to, look back. Really, we are very kind of conscious of at this point in our lives. We're all knocking on a bit, and we're just trying to achieve as much as we can while we can, and enjoy the moment for what we are. We're very privileged to be in this position to do this. With from the backing of what we've done in the past, I don't think we'd be able to achieve this if we hadn't had that kind of like that from what we've done. And we kind of, it's all down to people that support us and understand what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to do. So we're very grateful for the support that we receive and appreciate that a lot. And we're just trying to grasp the moment while it's there and enjoy it for what it is. And we don't tend to. We're constantly kind of trying to work forward. We're not ever looking backwards. At this point, we've kind of the new album's going to be released in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah, but we're already starting to work on tracks for the next album. So, we don't rest on our laurels or sit back and wait for things to happen. We kind of like grasp the moment while it's there and push forward. For me, being in a band is all about the creativity of making music, trying out new things and testing. No detriment to the previous bands I was in, band I was in, but that it was a very slow churn with them. It took a long time to do it, and it was always very tried and tested and formulaic, which worked. It's fun. But with Memoriam, it's a totally different kettle of fish. We are. We have got a blank canvas. We do like to try new things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we're prepared to take that risk and try out different things. We just do it for ourselves at the end of the day. The fact that other people get it and they quite like it, it's sort of a bit of a bonus, really. And, it's come from small things. Our aspirations at the start weren't really to do much apart from maybe do a few local gigs, maybe release a 7-inch single, do some cover versions of some old punk classics that inspired us to be in bands in the first place. But it very soon got out of control, and we've never managed to achieve those little things that we wanted to do. We haven't done the punk rock classic album yet, and we've only played in Birmingham a couple of times. So So yeah, but so we've got plenty of things in the planning. Obviously, this is the first album of a new trilogy, so there are going to be 2 more of this series to come along, and then who knows? Who knows what's around the corner?
Indeed.
One thing as you get older, you realise that life is short, and so you just got to grasp it while you can, enjoy it to its maximum.
Indeed, amen to that. I don't want to talk about the pandemic in any great detail because I'm fed up of doing interviews and saying you are.
Yeah.
But in terms of, obviously, you're coming to release an album now which has been created during the process or during the pandemic. How were you always on course to release album 4 around now?
Yeah. I mean, we were booked, because obviously we use Parlour Studios, and Russ Russell is, very popular kind of producer, and
sure.
very well booked a bit in advance. So we did have him, which is one of the reasons there was a bit of a gap between the third and the fourth, because we couldn't book him in, and that was the earliest we could get him into, basically. We didn't want to use anywhere else, just based on the success and the fact that he achieved such a lot with us with the last album. We thought, we want to use Parlour, we want to use Russ Russell, we feel very comfortable there. And also he had a bit of an album, a studio rebuild as well, just before we were in. He spent 3 or 4 months rebuilding his studio, so we were the guinea pigs for the first band in. But yeah, I mean, really, without dwelling too much on the pandemic, it has had a massively positive effect on the way we've put this album together, because for the first time ever, we've had that chance to focus on this. Usually, we're not a band that goes on tour for, a long extended period of time, but we do go and do shows virtually every other weekend throughout the year, which keeps us extremely busy. If it's just rehearsing for the shows or actually going away and doing the shows, that's what keeps us going throughout the year. And usually when it comes to doing an album, but the songs, roughly works out, we don't actually focus on doing them and getting them sorted out until maybe 6 to 8 weeks before we head into the studio. So therefore, it's a pretty much last minute thing. With vocals as well. Vocals for me always come after the music, so always writing them to the music. So vocals, usually the lyrics get written pretty close to when I'm actually recording them, or even, when I'm in the studio doing it as well. But with that, the whole world grinding to a halt in March 2020, we had very little to do apart from focus on this new album, which we did. So the music was pretty much completed by the summer, June, July time. The music was, it was there, it was in place. So I had, 3 months, 3 months to kind of like sit down and work the lyrics out, and which I did. I kind of like spent ages writing the lyrics, rewriting them. I got to a point where I'd written a whole set of lyrics, and I wasn't they were good. I wasn't entirely happy with them, so I rewrote some of them to balance out the themes and the structures of them. And one of the big difference was, because they were all done in August. I thought, well, what do we do? So I went over to Scott's studio, Riff Central, and I demoed the vocals. It's the first time in 30 odd years that I've ever had the chance to do that. And it was a brilliant process, because doing that kind of like, I could try out things, because sometimes when you go to the studio, you've got an idea in your head. That's great. It sounds brilliant. You try and do it, you can't do it. Yeah, absolutely. You haven't got the vocal capacity to do that. So it's a great opportunity to try out different things and work out the structures, the timings, and how I wanted to deliver things. So when we did go in the studio, this process was really, really smooth, and it was all there. And I think because we had that chance to prepare, being prepared in advance, it's made the album what it is, very much so.
Yeah. And is that one of the positives that you will take forward in terms of the process for the next one, do you think?
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, you just can't usually factor it in. Because once you kind of get back on that road of doing shows, which is what it's all about, we love that part of it. It is very hard to kind of like stop. And I think we're going to actively try and do that, and kind of get a bit more advancedly prepared, because it just worked so well, and you just feel you with a little bit more. A bit more confidence, and you've got more ideas to play with when you're in there as well. So, there may have been millions have died around the world due to this COVID, but we got a pretty good album out of it. So, all in all, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, sure. And the album is out on the 26th of March. How do you feel when an album goes out? You said earlier on that obviously it's for you and the band. You write the music you want to make. Do you still get any kind of butterflies as the launch date approaches and the reviews start coming in? Or
yeah, absolutely. It's that's natural, isn't it? It's our baby, and we've lived with it now for about 6 months, and we are cherishing it. And it's been interesting to see the reactions that the songs that have been released have been receiving, because we know, and you've probably heard the album. I
have, yeah.
Well, exactly. I mean, as you know. The album's nothing like. Well, every song on the album is very different from each other. And there's lots of curveballs and things that we've never tried before. On there that feature this. I think people are in for a real big surprise with this album. It's definitely a step up from what we've done previously. I think what we've done is we've built on the success of the last album. Which the blueprint was there in place. We defined the sound of the band. Takes a couple of albums to do that, but we definitely going to Carla Studios, using Russ Russell. That was like the missing link in what we were doing, and we managed to create what we were trying to work out with the last album. And we could have done the same, could have put another album sounding very similar, but we wanted to continue that kind of creative process and try out different things and work on different ideas, and we've done that. I think that really shows on this album. So people are in for a big surprise, I think. A good surprise, I like to think.
I agree,
I'm waiting in anticipation to see what kind of responses it gets. But, judging from talking to various members of the press that I've been talking to, it's definitely getting some good feedback off them. The thing I always do at the end of an interview, usually, is I turn the tables and I ask the person that's interviewing me, what's your favourite track? And everyone comes back with a different answer. It's incredible. So I think the key term that describes this album is it's very diverse. It's the most diverse album we've done. With the twists and the turns that come with it. So
Indeed.
People are in for a big surprise. They may like it, they may not. Let's see.
So let me get my answer in quickly before you ask it, because my two favourites from the several listens I've had so far are the opening track, which is what I would say is classic Memoriam. It's in your face, it kicks the album off, it's fast, it's furious, it's almost traditional.
Yeah, it's straightforward, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But then there are two others. So you've got this weird kind of industrial mix on Mass Psychosis, which... And then the last track as well.
Yeah.
Which is As My Heart Grows Cold. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is my favourite track, As My Heart Grows Cold, because it's just got this massive, epic, melancholy, almost kind of a bit Paradise Lost-y feel to it, it's a story of life, it's a story of joy and life, and love lost and love gained and sorrow, and I think, we can all relate to that. Especially as we all get older. Yeah. We've been there, I think that's sort of the strength of that song, is it touches on a few nerves that we can all relate to, and it's a beautiful way to end the album as well. It's a great closing end. But you touched on the Mass Psychosis there. That's a very special song, very different from anything we've done before. That it has got that industrial edge. It's really a tip of the hat to Killing Joke.
I thought that would be
my favourite band. And what we've done with that is that we kind of Scott. He knows my favourite band. So he wrote this song, which was pretty much in that vein. And it all sounded great. But when we've added this a new element to the band, which you may or may not notice, we've got a new drummer.
With Spike, Spike, who is ex-Killing Joke Live, I think,
Absolutely, yeah. So he's brought this extra edge into that song and added this different level, which is that kind of traditional Killing Joke tribal drumming to which takes it to a different level for me, and I'm particularly proud of that song. It works really well. The song itself, I planned out all the lyrics, and then at the end I said, okay, I'll just drop some stuff in here, Russ, and I want you to just mess with it, pick it up, change things around, turn it all around. And he definitely achieved that with that song. It works really, really well, and it it just jumps out the album because it's totally different from anything else on there as well. You know, I think a few of the Germans just don't quite get it because it's so different from everything else. But that's the idea, is to throw in that curveball to kind of make you kind of like jump out. And I'm chuffed with that song. Even so much so that when we were recording the album, we had a visitor, our mate Shane Embry. He popped down to have a listen through, and that was the one song that he picked out.
Yeah,
he's a big Killing Joke fan too.
Yeah,
and it's the one track that he picked out and said, that's got to be one of the singles off the album. And it is. It's going to be the next. It's going to be the next digital single. So
brilliant.
So there you go. So good choice, my friend.
Thank you. I'm glad I picked the curveballs. The other two that stood out. Not that they didn't all stand out. And I'm still working through my way through it, but there was Each Step, One Closer to the Grave, and the title track, which both are, I would say, semi-doom in terms of the speed of them. They're a lot slower, but they're still crushingly heavy.
Yeah, and again, we've never done a song like that before. In my history, I've never done a song as such epic, slow doom metal as Each Step in particular. Yeah, One Closer to the Grave. So much so that for me, it was really difficult to do because I've never written a song to that tempo before, and it took me about 10 approaches to get the right in, get the right to hit it right. I kind of I almost found out or learnt that with songs like that, the less lyrics that are in there, the stronger they are, because you've got to give the song space, because there's a lot of space in there. So it's great to know that even after 30 years of doing this, I'm still learning stuff. That's the beauty of what we do. So again, Scott knows I love you. I'm a big fan of Trouble and Candlemass and all that kind of doom metal stuff, but never had the opportunity to write a song in that vein. So we thought, let's do it. Yeah. And again, the title track, another classic example, it's on a slower tempo vein. That's a song, it jumped out as the album title for me because it's a continuing theme throughout the albums that I do. That I always nick, steal, beg, borrow a verse from the famous poem For the Fallen by Lawrence Bignon. I've done it since For Victory, actually. Right. Every album features a verse off that album, off that poem. Yeah. And this particular song, For the Fallen, that's For the Fallen, to the end, to the end, features two verses from that poem, and I just really like the way that they fit. Some certain lines in those you wouldn't expect. Yeah, in a death metal song, but I managed to get the line "the stars that are starry." I like that, and they just jump out, and it just works really well. And be glad to know that I've left. There's two more verses left of the poem, right? That I've kept back for the next couple of albums. So once they're all used, that's it. Game's over. Yeah, that's it. I can retire then. Indeed. You mentioned Spike as obviously in the band. How is I must touch on Whale. How is he doing? Because of course he's got that rotor cuff, hasn't he? Yeah. I just spoke with Whale about half an hour ago. Actually. Yeah, he's doing okay. Yeah, he's it's a terrible thing. It happens. It affects quite a lot of drummers, he's saying that there's no kind of like short term fix to it, but it's a question of time, really. And exercising, which he's doing, and taking it easy. And he said that he feels a lot better today. He said, but that often happens. It kind of feels good for a while, but then it all relapse again. Yeah. So he made that conscious decision back in the end. I think it was around August time, and beginning of August, that he couldn't really continue doing this in the band. He couldn't commit himself to doing the album at least. And so we kind of engaged the services of Spike. Yeah. And he did a phenomenal job considering he only had 6 to 8 weeks in which to be. We only had 2 rehearsals because it was in the middle of lockdown as well. Yeah. So we had 2 rehearsals. Half of one of those was a photo shoot. Considering he had such a short amount of time, he did a phenomenal job. And I'm kind of looking forward to working with Spike because I'm sure on the next album as a full-time member of the band now, he's going to have a lot more input into the kind of creation of the drum patterns as well.
Yeah,
So and playing live is going to be a great experience. But Whale is my best mate. He always was. Always will be. One of the reasons I started doing the band in the first place was the opportunity to work with him again. So I'm going to miss him. But I'm pretty sure that our paths will cross again. Whether it be with Memoriam in the future at some point, or something else we can work together on. Once he's got himself back working on final all four cylinders. He's keeping himself busy with other little projects as well. He's got Darkened, which seems to be doing really well as well. So he's all right. He's okay in himself.
Good.
And we are still in contact, and hopefully shall remain so.
Magic. We'll give him our best, because obviously he's an integral part of a lot of our legacy, our history, and we obviously want him to get well and to continue pounding those skins.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's devastating for him in many respects, because it must be really hard for him to kind of have to step back from something he really enjoyed doing. But he's still doing it. He hasn't given up drums completely. I think what he's found, which works actually, he's talking to me today about that, is using a lighter stick, like a jazz drumstick, which is a bit slightly lighter weight. Mm-hmm. That is kind of like causing a lot less stress on his injury. So he's found a way through it, and he seems to be getting there. So that's all good news. Yeah,
great. Just one other thing about the album, there's a little bit more of social commentary on there that started, or obviously certainly on Austerity Kills on the last album that came through, and obviously the UK is it's hurting at the moment, isn't it? It's a bit of a nightmare for a lot of us.
Yes, we are in crisis.
Do you draw? I was going to say inspiration, but that's the wrong word. Do you draw some of your lyrics from what's going on around you?
I'd say inspiration is the correct word. Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's strange you say that, because when I was writing the lyrics back in July, August time of last year, I was very much enmeshed with the whole issue of what was going on with the kind of social kind of an issue and cultural issues going on in the world around us. In particular, the continual and growing rise of xenophobic right-wing nationalism, which is a global plague, worse than COVID in many respects, I think.
Yeah.
So there's that phenomenon was very prevalent in my mind, reflected in what was happening in America with the growth of Trumpism and the Black Lives Matter issues was huge. The murder of George Floyd was massively in the press. That compounded with the issues of Brexit that were still kind of very kind of like rumbling along and starting to kind of gain kind of like effect as well. These issues were really at the forefront of my mind when I was writing the lyrics. And when I wrote the first draft of all the lyrics, I put them down and read through them and thought, good. But they were all of them, every single set of them were overtly political. And I thought, and I tell you what, if that was the way normally, when we were recording normally, that's the way that it'd come out.
Yeah.
I'd be in the studio next week and wouldn't have had the chance to change them. But I thought, no, I want to have some balance here. I want to kind of have some political impact, because it's important. I find it really, as an artist, as a musician, as a vocalist, it's really important for me to kind of like, state my case. And I feel that if you don't, you're kind of part of the problem in many respects. You can't kind of bury your head in stones and pretend things aren't happening. You have to kind of make a stand for the things that you think are right. So I kept the ones that I felt were the strongest ones. I had kind of like some social, political impacts. Failure to comply being a prime example of that. There's another one which is going to feature on the 12-inch, which is in the box set, which we put to one side. And there's a couple of other ones that got a touch on politics. No effect is talking about social media and things like that. Yeah. But so I kept the ones that had the kind of like the strongest kind of like content with regards to social commentary. And then I rewrote some of the songs to inject a little bit more stuff about war.
Yeah.
I realised that people kind of expecting that to a certain extent.
We need a bit of that. Yeah,
you need a bit of that. That's what I'm known for, and if I didn't do that, I think people would be a bit disappointed, really.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to disappoint people, and so and it worked really well because you got songs like Onwards into Battle that came out, Enter It, and This War Is Won. Those songs developed from that rewrite, and more importantly, it gave me the space to explore and come out with the songs like As My Heart Grows Cold and Each Step. They fitted that. They didn't really fit a political theme. I'm really, really pleased with the balance that I've managed to achieve with the set of lyrics now. So I touch on the social political, but also the other themes are in there too. So there's something for everyone, and I won't piss off everybody.
Good news.
Not that I don't mind pissing off everybody.
Absolutely. So I was just thinking, I mean, you're obviously from the same era as me when tape trading was the currency. There was no such thing as social media, streaming platforms, internet or anything like that. And I know that you often respond quite directly on the Memoriam Facebook page and various things.
Instant and direct.
Indeed. How do the old heads within the band? How do you deal with social media? Do you? I mean, because various bands have different ways of dealing with it, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much. I think Twitter's more my favourite.
Right.
Platform. I'm quite good. You can't really mess Twitter up. Apart from you can make a post and you can't edit it. Which is fine. I can work on that. Now Facebook's a bit of a different kettle of fish. I had a bit of a Facebook disaster last August. Facebook and whiskey don't mix.
No.
I managed to somehow, I don't know how, I managed to delete the whole band's admin access to our Facebook page, and overnight we lost 21,000 followers.
No, that's why you had the Yeah, right. Okay, I'm with you now.
It's my fault. It's my fault. I put my hands up to it completely. I don't know how I did it. It was just some kind of prompt that I got, and it just fucked it up completely. And so ever since we've done it in the background, we've been trying to kind of like get it back. And last week we managed to achieve that with the help of a independent social media expert, which we've now got on board to help us.
Okay.
But it took a bit of doing, but now we've got our old site back. So obviously in the past 6 months there's been a lot more members. We've got about 30,000 followers now, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
But it's great to be in contact direct with people. It has its pros. Yeah. It's great to have that kind of instantaneous contact. But you are open to a lot of criticism. But I can deal with that. I'm pretty kind of thick-skinned at this time in my life. I don't really kind of like paying attention to that. And that's what No Effect, the song off the new album's, all about that kind of that issue as well. It's great. You can't beat those old days. Those tape trading days.
No.
Were golden, weren't they? When you used to get like a little package from Peru.
Absolutely,
Not with anything apart from tapes in it, obviously. But like a T-shirt from an obscure Peruvian underground metal band, and a tape. It's brilliant. And a handwritten letter. You just can't beat that kind of feeling. A feeling. Because the world was such more insular, wasn't it? Back then? We are so globally connected, which is great, But it does. I don't know. I think it's great for that connectivity. It makes it easier to connect with people, but also from a band perspective, it makes it probably more difficult to start off.
Yeah.
Because there's so many other people doing it, and to kind of like get yourself out there amongst this myriad of all these other bands doing it must be quite hard to do that. So we were lucky to, in a way, to come from that era where things were a bit hard and you had to try that little bit more harder to achieve things, and you value things a little bit more. I think I still retain that ethos as well. Yeah,
sure. Just a couple of final questions, if you will, Karl. Obviously, Bolt Thrower's legacy remains in the UK and around the world, and you were obviously part of what I would consider, and a lot of people consider, one of the most legendary UK metal bands. How do you actually view the legacy that Bolt Thrower have left? Do you have a view on what you did and how you left it? Because you set some values in terms of the way you dealt with everything, from when you did your records, where you played, how you dealt with your merch, all that kind of thing.
Absolutely, yeah. We learnt a lot. I've learnt a lot from those times. It's a golden time, and it's something that I'll never decry. And I know it holds a lot, a special place in a lot of people's hearts, and I can understand that. It's difficult for us now. I mean, I retain a lot of the ethos, stuff that works.
Yeah.
Okay. Stuff that I didn't particularly think worked or didn't agree with. I've dumped and I work on something else.
Yeah.
It's a new entity with Memoriam, and it's it's difficult. It's great, and it's helped, and it's kind of put us where we are because I've done that. I'm aware of that, very aware of that.
Yeah.
But also, in many respects, it's kind of like, we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't with Memoriam, because people, are kind of going to criticise us for being either A, too much like Bolt Thrower,
yeah.
B, not enough like Bolt Thrower, and you can't win. We can't win. So we just prefer to just keep our heads down, get on with what we're doing, do it for ourselves, move forward. At the end of the day, Bolt Thrower were great.
Yeah,
it was fun, but it's gone. And my message to everyone is, get over it.
Yeah. Excellent. Very honest. Thank you. So my final question is a little bit hopeful, I suppose, in that you are scheduled to play Bloodstock again this year.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, absolutely. Main support on the Saturday night on the Sophie stage.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you started, one of your first gigs was in 2016 in that same tent, and then you played the main stage 2 years later, I think.
Yeah, in the pissing rain at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah,
indeed. So two parties.
We did make it stop.
Well, that's unlike Triptychon, who just make it rain. So.
Yeah, it was experience. Definitely, it's always an experience.
Yeah. So what my question was in two parts, really. One was, how hopeful are you that you'll actually get to play it, and the second part was, what are your memories of the two that you've already played? Yeah. I mean, for me, Bloodstock's great because it's just down the road. Yeah, sure. It's really easy to get to. It takes me half an hour to drive there, which was great. Memories of the first one were incredible because we all went down in a van as a band, and it was one of our first shows we ever did, and to play that to such a large audience at a very early stage was incredible, and it gave us that kind of like strength and impetus to push forward. Yeah. The second one, second time around was a bit different because we were playing on the main stage. Yeah. Really want to play on the main stage, but it came up to us, and we thought we'd do it, and it was good. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I say it was raining, and it was horrible. But yeah, once we kind of banished the rain clouds and the crowds came out from the shelter of the tents, it kind of started to swing into effect. But it was the set time was a lot shorter because it was a main stage, so it was hardly worth it. Yeah. But it was good fun. It was good fun, just down the road, and it's good as a social event, really, just to go down and meet up with all the people and have a laugh, and in that respect, it was brilliant. But our hopes on us playing again this August are very high. I would say they are being very positive to people at Bloodstock, and they have to be, and I understand that. But I am being a little bit more measured. I am still not 100% convinced that it's going to happen. Yeah, I'd like to think it will do. Yeah. It'd be great. It'd be great if it does. I look forward to it immensely. It'd be a great release for everyone, and I think it's what we all need. We need this to happen. But, the reality of it is, you just don't know what's going to happen around the corner. Sure. Things with this thing that's around us, things change on a very rapid pace. So, so when we have to comply. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We can't fail to comply on this one.
we've got to comply to this because it's a long-term thing. Yeah, so if it really doesn't happen this year, it'll happen next year.
Yeah,
for sure. But it'd be great. It'd be really great if it happened this year, and I think we're all very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, and with all due respect to you guys, I think that slot that you've got in the tent will be much more to your liking and to our liking as well.
Yeah, it's the prime Saturday night main sport.
Yeah,
great, perfect. You know, we can enjoy that for what it is, and we're really kind of looking forward to that as well. So,
sure.
Let's fingers crossed. Let's hope it works.
Indeed.
See how it rolls out. We've got a few months to go. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Karl. It's been a pleasure to chat to you. I know that the pre-sales seem to be going very well on the album.
Yeah, shocking. Yeah, absolutely. The majority of all the morass of different coloured vinyl.
I know.
It's all gone.
Yeah.
And then I think the majority of the box sets have all gone as well. And that's a great product as well. It looks really good.
It does.
In fact, I've got my box set's been sent to Frank's house, which I've got to go and collect tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to
excellent
opening up that and having a look at it.
Great. Well, fingers crossed. I don't think you'll need it for the 26th, but all the best for it. And I'll catch up with you at Bloodstock. Fingers crossed.
Absolute pleasure speaking to you, my friend.
Take care, mate. All the best.
Take care.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website www.therazorsedge.rocks.